Everybody, welcome back to Wicked Sports and welcome back to the Bayou Breakdown. Jack, the NFL season's back. How are you doing?
We're feeling good, man. The NFL season is back for 2023. I'm feeling really good as a Saints fan for sure.
Yeah, excited to talk a little bit Saints, a little bit of the NFC South in general. Here, it feels like the South here in Massachusetts today. It's 87
Wow.
degrees. I got my sweatband on to try to catch any beads of sweat. I'm not built for it, quite frankly. I'm much more built for the cold. I don't know about you.
I'm Florida man, dude. I
Yeah,
think this. I prefer the heat, man. Honestly, we have the AC going right now though, so that should be indicative of how bad it is up here.
it's
For
crazy. It's
sure.
crazy to be this hot at this
It
point. But
is. It is.
let's talk about the NFC South. They're no strangers to very hot weather down there, uh, except for the Saints because they got the AC right
That's true.
in the
Superdome,
dome.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah, Saints and Falcons. They got to figure it out. I don't know what the Panthers and Bucks are doing, but
Bucks are crazy.
yeah, especially the Bucks. But how'd the preseason go?
Speaking of things that are really hot, the NFC South is probably not one of those things. So I would say ultimately, right, the preseason for the Saints was fine. I mean, helps if nothing else, really good to get Derek Carr some touches and some looks on offense to his new offensive weapons. Right, Michael Thomas looks healthy for once. Um, Chris Olave, obviously second year guy, already hit 1,000 yards his rookie year, so that's promising. Um, and then new additions, Jamal Williams, right? Guys like that, Juwan Johnson kind of coming into his own. I feel overall offensively, I feel really good. Defensively, I feel also fine. I would say not like really good, but good in general. Um, I think, I mean, obviously, preseason doesn't matter. I think if the preseason's anything, it's indicative of what could be a really good season for us. I liked what I saw for sure from the limited plays that I was able to watch, right? But I think the NFC South should be ours for the taking, barring like a massive coming out party for Baker Mayfield or Desmond Ritter or I almost said CJ Stroud, Bryce Young.
Yes, Bryce Young, the first overall pick in the draft.
Yeah,
Kind of a surprise for me to see the
I thought
Panthers
so.
go up and take Bryce Young. Great college player, but size is a concern with him.
Yeah, he's short.
Yeah. Which hey, Drew Brees also short Hall of
True,
Fame.
true.
So we won't take that away from
No,
our short king QBs. But I'm more. He's just so skinny. Uh,
yeah, the frame is like that's a question mark, right? Like,
mm,
how is he going to hold up? Is he going to be able to add muscle to it? I don't know, man. I guess time will tell, right?
hey man, as a Dolphins fan, someone who's watched my small Alabama QBs,
Alabama boy.
suffer a
Yeah,
little in the NFL. I'm just a little worried for Bryce Young, but so we got Derek Carr starting here for the Saints over Jameis Winston, although Winston is the backup. We championed Winston all last year. I'm sure we'll champion Carr just as much, unless stuff goes bad. Then we'll get right back on the Winston bandwagon. But going into the season, how are you feeling at QB? This is, I feel like, the first time post Drew Brees where the Saints kind of have like, I don't know if unknown's the right way to put it, but like Derek Carr has had a lot of success, but he's also fallen short a lot. How are you
yeah.
feeling going into it?
That's a great call out. I think since Drew Brees, we've had, I mean, realistically, we've had like two starting caliber quarterbacks, and that does not include Andy Dalton. I would say that would be Jameis Winston after he took his year with Drew Brees on the bench
Mhm.
and then said, "Yep, I'm ready to start. Let's do this." Right, and that wasn't great.
Right.
So that was kind of a letdown, right? So Saints fans, I think, are proceeding with caution with Carr as well. I think on a good offense, I think he is a probably like fringe top 10 QB. Like he's not like seven, he's not like six. I think he's probably like eight, nine, 10 in that range somewhere. Um,
Mhm.
I think he has a potential, especially with the offensive weapons that he's got in like, I mean, probably one of the better two-headed rushing attacks in the NFL once Kamara's back in week 4. With him, Jamal Williams, and then Kendrick Miller, who is just explosive from what I've seen. But I mean, until then, it's Jamal Williams, Kendrick Miller is kind of a question mark, I would say.
Mhm.
You add on a healthy Michael Thomas, ideally, right? Juwan Johnson, who is, again, for what it's worth, a red zone menace. And
Mhm.
then Chris Olave, again, rookie coming out of his own, had a 1,000-yard season last year with Andy Dalton throwing to him, for example, right? So, yeah, this is Derek Carr's like real opportunity to start over, right? John Gruden has been down here helping out. Pete Carmichael, I think, is more of a question mark for me than Derek Carr, and that's our offensive coordinator, right? He's the guy that last year made a lot of questionable play calls, a lot of questionable decisions. Has he learned from those, right? That's what it comes down to. Has Dennis Allen learned to say, like, no, this is my call now, sorry. I don't know. I think that's what we have to wait and see. I think the offense, like, objectively was making good play calls, even though, again, it's preseason, so you can't read too much into that. It's not the first stringers, right? But I think Derek Carr, just with the personnel around him, if Pete Carmichael can help get Derek Carr to the level that I think he can be capable of in that, like, 7, 8, 9, 10 range of top 10 QBs in the league, I think this is going to be a good season. I think we win the division anyway, to be completely honest with you. I think we win the division almost no matter what. Hell, I think we could win the division with Jameis, if I'm being totally honest with you. But I think the other teams are so weak that this is ours for the taking. So this should be a win for us. Period.
Right. Yeah. So can you give me one guy who maybe is not getting a lot of attention, wider around the league that you really think's going to have like a big season here for the Saints?
It's a great question. I feel that way about a lot of guys. I think, honestly, last year, I think Tyrann Mathieu looked pretty bad to start, but I think over time he consistently felt better and better in this defensive scheme and has just gotten better and better, right? We signed him to a 3-year deal. He's got 2 years left, including this year. I feel like he's going to be a standout. Again, I don't want to say that, like, it's like, oh, wow, he's underrated, but I feel like for what he is as a safety, like, he's an essential part of that defense, right? Especially in the secondary, which was weaker 2 years ago before we got him, right? So I don't know if I'd say him as a standout necessarily. I feel like, from what we saw in the flashes of Juwan Johnson last year as well, I feel like I could say a lot of dudes for different reasons, honestly. But let me start with Tyrann Mathieu, right? Because he is that defensive juggernaut in safety. I think Juwan Johnson, because he has that red zone ability, he might only put up like 400 or 500 yards on the season, but at the same time, he is the guy that he's got crazy hands for like a 6'4" dude. Look, any tight end who can catch the ball is valuable, right? I just think he's kind of overlooked because he's a little bit older and he kind of came out a little bit later. That'll be fun to watch Derek Carr and I would say, even though Foster Moreau's on the team kind of taking up that target share a little bit, I feel like that's kind of a 1A, 1B situation, if you ask me. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I sit. I'd like to see what Kendra Miller can do with Alvin Kamara, right? Because he's getting those change of pace down.
Right. Yeah, Kamara, it's a 3-game suspension, right?
It is, yep. So back
and that's stemming from, if everyone can remember, all the way back in the 2021 Pro Bowl, where he got into an altercation in Vegas, played in the Pro Bowl, played all last year, and I was kind of like, maybe it's just going to go away. Like, I thought, because people at the time when it first happened, they're like, "Oh, he's fucked. He's gonna go to jail," which ridiculous. Players don't go to jail, but
silly, that's right, silly me.
Mm-hmm. Honestly. So he just got a 3-game suspension. So that's definitely good for the Saints, I think. And so let's take a look from the division. I've already locked it in. Saints are winning the division. How do you see the rest of the division shaking out?
I think 100% Saints win the division, right? I think if you're looking at Carolina and Atlanta, those are 2 developmental quarterbacks they've got going on, right? Desmond Ritter's first full season as a starting NFL quarterback, plus obviously Bryce Young, number 1 overall pick, right? Let's see how these guys do. I think expectations might be a little bit too high for Bryce Young in year 1. I think him, and I don't think Ritter's very good, I'm being totally honest with you. I think those 2 teams are going to be like kind of question marks. We'll have to see what Bijan can do to carry the Falcons to anything. No pun intended, carry, right? But I think it's probably in order going to be New Orleans by not a landslide, probably a couple of games though for sure. Probably the Bucs, right? I think regardless of Baker Mayfield or Kyle Trask, I like Baker, to be honest with you. I think he's just been kind of got a shit hand dealt to him the last couple of years, honestly. With the Deshaun Watson thing was super weird. He requested a trade, got traded last minute to the Panthers, didn't really fit in that scheme, and then Matt Rule got fired, and then he got sent to LA, where he actually did pretty okay, I would say.
Yeah, he did fine. He had that really exciting comeback win after wasn't he signed on a Tuesday and played on Thursday?
And that was Thursday. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And he somehow did that, and I was like, dude, I'm betting on the Rams, and it was sick.
That's kind of where he shines. It's just
it is.
Go out there and sling it. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Get out there and frickin' throw the thing, dude. And then he did. And I think that's, in fairness, like, yeah, Brady's gone, of course, so it's gonna be big shoes to fill for him. But he's still got Chris Godwin. He's still got Mike Evans, a couple unproven running backs, but he's got a good scramble on him too. Sometimes leads to some poor decision making. We'll have to see what ends up there, but I still think I'm taking Tampa over Carolina, and then that leaves Atlanta in the dumpster for sure.
All right. So Atlanta is coming in fourth. That's surprising to me. I think they have a chance. And when I say I think they have a chance to win like 6 or 7 games in Atlanta.
Chance is a strong word, yeah.
Yeah. I think if everything goes right.
Yeah.
If they lean on the run, they have obviously Robinson. They have Cordero Patterson still, who was great a few years ago. They have Kyle Pitts, who tight end, quarterback's best friend. Maybe he can finally break out. Though I did not draft him in fantasy. I've been burned a couple times now by Kyle Pitts, so it's now I got to prove it. But I think the Panthers are gonna, there should be. You said there might be too high expectations. I think there should be no expectations for Bryce Young. I think this year, just hope that he plays, doesn't get hurt, and just learns, the NFL speed, right? Like that.
Yeah, totally agree.
I think, Joe Burrow had a bad record his rookie year before he got hurt, but he played well. I think we've had like a lot of rookie quarterbacks come in and be successful, and it's kind of like skewed our perception of what rookie quarterback should look like.
Totally.
I think, if you're a Panthers fan listening to this Saints podcast, just take it easy on Bryce Young. Don't worry if he looks terrible, because there will be games where he's going to look terrible. He's a rookie. So I think the Panthers will be bad. I know their coach is decent, but it all fell apart in Indy last year. So I don't know what's going to happen there. So I think I'll put, Saints 1, I think by a mile, best team in the NFC South, easily will win the division, probably 10, maybe 11 wins. I don't want to get too crazy here, but I don't think 11-6 is outrageous for this team. I think the Bucks, if they struggle at all to start, they're going to fire their coach, because they only won 8 games last year with Brady, not good. Lost in a wild card game by a lot to the Cowboys. They're going to trade Mike Evans probably, because he does not have a new deal. So like, what? It's going to be one of those things where it's like, are we going to compete? Are we going to try to rebuild? I think again, Baker gets a little screwed by a situation. So I think, the Saints will have like 11 wins, and everyone else will have like 8 to 5 wins in the division. But Saints, Bucks, Falcons, Panthers are what I'm thinking.
That's fair. So you're thinking the Falcons over the Panthers? I think the Falcons honestly have a shot at only hitting 4 wins this year. I really do.
I mean, you probably know better than me, because you actually watch like the Falcons at least twice a year and are more, aware of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a painful watch either way. I think, the only thing that it would need a big step forward from guys like Drake London, Kyle Pitts. Not their defense. We know it's not their defense. Defense is porous to say the least, I guess.
I couldn't name one player on their defense.
I couldn't either. I couldn't tell you a single dude. No, I was actually thinking about it. Yeah, I can't. I truly could not name a single person. I think Logan Ryan from the Pats was there once. I might even be wrong. I think it was Tennessee, actually. Couldn't tell you. Could not tell you. But that's why I think it's so brutal. I think they've got to have a high power offense, and Desmond Ridder is he's got a cannon for an arm. He's no idea where he's throwing it, So I think that's going to cause a lot of issues. It's a fight for that last spot. I think Bucks are aggressively mid, and I think the other two are aggressively below average.
Yeah. And hey, maybe Derek Carr's gonna have like a bounce back year and win comeback. Well, I was gonna say win comeback player of the year. DeMar Hamlin's gonna win comeback player of the year if he plays one snap. So, but like, bounce back for Carr. Yeah. Oh yeah. He almost die. He did die.
Literally, he
Yeah.
literally died.
And
Yeah.
then got brought back to life.
That's
So
how he's playing. Yeah, twice
Yeah.
actually, twice. He should win it twice. Actually, he needs to win it twice this year.
yeah, right. So that's crazy. But yeah, I think safe to say it. I'm once you make the playoffs, anything can happen.
Anything can
Yeah.
happen. Exactly.
There are tons of times where we've seen teams where they're like, yeah, they're fine, and then all of a sudden they're in the NFC Championship game.
Yeah, yeah,
like,
right.
Okay.
Oh, this happened fast. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so we'll see. I'm excited to talk about the Saints all year. I'm just
Me too,
really
man.
excited for football to be back.
And we've only got a couple days at this point in time of recording, right? So that's sick.
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Yep. Let's
Chiefs
go.
and Lions.
Oh my God, that is tomorrow. Holy
Yeah,
cow.
yeah, because we had Monday off. I know.
Dude, yeah,
I'm the same way. I'm all that stuff this week.
Like, oh my God, tomorrow.
So remember to set your lineups, everybody. When this comes out tonight, there's a game.
Set them.
All right, Jack. Anything that we didn't touch on that you wanted to?
I think I'd like to actually set up a Michael Thomas injury counter as well. Let's see how many games did it take him to get injured. I'm going with 2.
It was 1 last year, right?
It was 1, and he played hurt and then didn't play for the rest of the season.
Okay. Jesus
so
Christ.
It's surprising.
This is a big year for him, though.
This is. I have faith. I really do. I've said that every year for the last 5 years, but I have faith this time.
Yeah.
This time it's different.
We thought it was going to be the return last year, but maybe this year. Jack, anything you want to promote before we get out of here?
Best place to find me is on Twitter or X, and that's @Jack_Tiernan. So follow me there. I've also got a disc golf account for my disc golf tournaments. Tournament season is winding down, actually, but you can follow me at Jack Disc Golfs there.
Awesome. So yeah, go follow him there. You follow me on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, @TheFakeBMar. I got Blue Sky. I'm Brian Marr, MARR on there. I don't follow anybody. I don't know anyone else who has Blue Sky, and I don't. So if you have one and you want to follow her, let me know in the comments. I'm down. But yeah, other than that, please stay with the channel. We got football, basketball, hockey, Premier League stuff. Everything's happening here. So other than that, Jack, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Brent.
We'll see you all in the next one.